Okay. Hi guys. It has been about 3 weeks since we've posted anything on YouTube, and I know a lot of you guys have been worried about us. We are fine. In fact, we're better than fine. We're doing fantastic, and it has taken us 3 weeks to do this because, I'll be honest, we've really enjoyed having our time to ourselves. And I made a little list actually that might help you understand why we have taken this break and why this break actually may continue. Well, or rather that we may take more breaks often, and who knows. We definitely won't do it every day though, ever again. I shouldn't say ever. You never know what'll happen in the future, but we anticipate not doing daily vlogs in the future. But we're not disappearing. Our channel is not disappearing. We've come to realize that the way that we want to live our lives is, well, it doesn't really allow for us to do daily videos on YouTube. But anyway, I'll get into my list. And forgive me if this sounds a little bit negative at times, but in my mind there's no easier way to give you or to paint a picture of our experience with YouTube than to just tell you what kind of problems we've had with it. So I've kind of made a list of like my top 10, although I have more than that, a few more than that, reasons that we have some issues with YouTube. These are in no particular order, but maybe this, like I said, will give you an idea of what it's been like for us. Okay, the first one is that anticipating making a video every day is actually really hard mentally. We've always got to be thinking of something entertaining, and that's another aspect of it. I hate being an entertainer. I feel like that's, you know, while it's important in life to have entertainment, that is not what I want for myself. I do not want to be an entertainer. I would love to be a teacher, a helper, but entertainer is not, I feel like, one of my talents, first of all, and it's not something that I want to pursue. So anticipation of making an entertaining video every day is very difficult mentally. It takes many hours out of my day. I'll just be walking around, kind of wandering the property or whatever, thinking not only of projects that need to be done, but also not getting those projects done because I'm anticipating how to turn it into an entertaining video. So, also, that on a side note, I found that, maybe some of you are like this, I can only do like one thing a day. I know that sounds bad. Let me explain. I can wake up in the morning and say, I want to do this major thing today. This is the major thing that I want to have accomplished by the time I go to sleep tonight. And it's usually only one thing. I kind of have to, I mean, it can involve several big things, but say, for example, I have a few things I need to get downtown. That is probably all that I'll get done that day, because by the time I get home, I will have expended my energy, you know, my mental energy, not my physical energy. But you know, of course, this doesn't account for normal everyday things like eating and taking care of you know, required business things for my career, and of course I make time for spiritual things and for family things. Those are just kind of a given. But my major temporal or worldly pursuit can only be you know, boiled down to one thing. Okay, the second thing I have on my list is when we make videos, all these fantastic things are preserved for us and our children to see, and we love sharing these things with you guys. But it's difficult, we've realized, to see all these things through the eyes of a camera lens, and we feel like we're really missing out in a way. Isn't that interesting that we are preserving it so we can see it later, but we're filtering it, and our our approach, because we know it'll be public, is we're kind of filtering it, and I think that's impossible to avoid entirely. Some people are better at it than others, I'm sure, but for us, it's just, yeah, we feel like we've kind of missed out on a lot of what's happened this past year, because we've been seeing these fun moments through the eyes of a camera lens, and I'm sure a lot of that is because of what I said earlier about anticipating this element of making it fun and entertaining for you guys to watch. As you know, sometimes family videos aren't the most entertaining things in the world to view. Anyway, and that brings me to the next thing, which is editing. We love to edit videos to make them more palatable, more enjoyable for us to watch in the future, and of course more enjoyable for you guys to watch. Editing takes me, it used to take me 4 or 5, sometimes 6 hours. It was ridiculous, when I was learning how to edit. I feel like I know how to do it now, although I admit that I did it too much. And even our last videos, I spent too much time. About 2 hours a day is what I've gotten down to. And that's just a lot of time, You add up anticipation of what to make the video about and how to take the camera angles and all these other things. And then actually taking the video and then editing and paying attention to the fact that I need to, wait for it to upload, and just kind of setting that in a mental place in my brain, keeping track of it. All these things take time and take energy away from me. Okay, and then the next item is that it slows down projects. That's kind of a given. I've kind of talked about that already. Next thing is that it pays far too little for the time that I put into it. I figured it out. It probably pays me about 3 to 5 hours. $3 to $5 per hour for the work that I'm dedicating solely to the videos and to this channel. Maybe even less. That might be a little bit too much. So that does depend on the month, and that's another kind of issue we have with YouTube itself as a whole. It it goes up and down depending on how the YouTube people or machines, whoever, they're all made by people, but however they decide to change things up at the time. And that can be stressful, because when we were looking at this as a legitimate source of income, to supplement our homestead efforts, it was very hard to see it go back down, and very discouraging when we would see it creep up, and we would think that it's because we're getting better at these things, and then we put out this happened a lot actually, we put out a particularly good video that got a lot of views, and we loved it, and then 2 or 3 days later our income average had dropped far below anything that we had seen in months. So that was a little bit frustrating. The next thing is similar. We first got into doing daily videos because we saw YouTube as a possible source of ongoing passive income. Passive meaning that we would continue to see an income after we had done the work. So we wouldn't just get paid for the hours that we put in, but it would continue to pay. And there is a perpetual aspect to it. These videos will never be taken down unless YouTube does it. We're not going to take them down. And so we do get a little bit, and this is part of this was a little bit of a test, taking breaks, and we've taken a couple breaks in the past 5 or 6 months, just to see what would happen. And in our case, I know this is not the case in this is not what happens for every channel on YouTube, and every family that does this, but in our case, the moment we stop making videos, our income drops down to virtually zero. So in other words, people are only watching our videos that day, and very few of you, I know some of you are going back and seeing our old videos, which is great, thank you. They're always going to be there, so hopefully they'll continue to provide entertainment and hopefully some life lessons and helpful hints and things like that for you. But it even on weekends, you know, when we didn't post on Sundays or didn't make a video on Sundays, there was a very obvious drop. You know, if I'm drawing a graph, it would kind of go like this, and then every single Sunday it would go back to 0 basically, and then back up, which shows us that not a lot of people are watching our old videos. That's in our case. Some other channels have been very fortunate that when they stop making videos for a week or 2 or 3 or 4, their income stays basically the same from YouTube. Okay, so in our case, it is not passive income at all. We have to work for it, and as I said, it's far less than minimum wage per hour of work putting into it. Let's see here. Again, forgive me if this gets into the negative thing. I'll try not to paint a picture of it in a negative light, but we are so grateful. I'll preface it with this: so grateful for the support and supportive comments that we've gotten from many of you. However, I'll just be frank. Most are well-meaning. Well, okay, let me back up again. I should say most of the comments that we get are completely supportive and kind and loving, I would even say. We're so grateful for you guys. Other comments that we get, though, and there's far too many of them, and maybe we've been too reluctant to block these people from making comments. But a lot of times people, although they're well-meaning, they will tell us how they think we should do things. We have never been on YouTube to try to learn things from our audience. Our idea was just to share what we're doing. And yes, we're very, very aware that we're doing things in a very different way. And usually when people make suggestions, they're a little bit derogatory, or at the very least kind of showing a distinct lack of faith in our abilities, or our our ability to look it up on Google. Of course, you know, yes, we know how to look things up, and yes, we know how to read books, and you know, we can do that on our own. And we get a lot of comments, unfortunately, not compared to the good comments, because as a percentage, it's actually very low. But we get too many comments just telling us what these people know, and they're very proud of the fact that they know something, and maybe they went to college, so they happen to know this. Well, we don't care. We don't care if somebody went to college. We'll do things that work for us, and if we don't know, then we'll figure it out on our own. So it's been a little bit hard to process some of these comments. This next one is interesting. It actually, having a YouTube channel and doing daily videos discourages one-on-one contact with family members and friends. And I understand completely, but I'm trying to tread lightly. I don't want to hurt any feelings, because this is not a huge deal. But we love talking to our parents on the phone, and we've noticed that the only time that they call is when we haven't made a video in a little while. Because of course they're seeing us, they know everything about us, you know, and they can see everybody and what we're doing every day, and so why would they need to call us? But we miss, the point is that we miss talking to them, and if they had a channel, hint hint, then it wouldn't feel so one-sided. It's not always a problem, it's just a small aspect of it. But okay, the next thing is that we actually, as a family and as individuals, Laura Jean and I really value our privacy. We're really, really private individuals. It's always been hard for us to share any aspect of our lives on YouTube. We did it because it's hard. That's one of the reasons that we did it. We felt like it would be good for us to get over our reluctance to share our lives with others, especially perfect strangers. And it has become easier for us. We've become better at expressing ourselves, at sharing our intentions and our feelings. But it does take a lot of energy out of us. We're probably textbook introverts. It's draining for us to give energy to other people for very long, except for very close friends and family. So, and sometimes even close friends and family. When I say family, I mean our own family unit here. And sometimes it's, maybe some of you can relate, sometimes it actually is draining to be around other people, even relatives. And I'm not saying anything specific about our relatives. We love our relatives, but in general, it's hard for us to share things with other people. So, that's just us. We can do it, but it's not our natural tendency. Next thing, and I know this is going on long, for a long time. It's much longer than I anticipated, but I hope that I'm explaining things to you. Next thing on my list is that it's very hard to show our projects half finished. I'm an artist. I don't like to let people see my paintings half finished, and most artists are like this because most people lack the ability to see what it will be in its completion. They see something half done and they say, oh, well, that's not very good. Well, thanks, it's not done yet. It's funny, I actually had a comment. This has happened more than once, in fact. I think twice in my lifetime this has happened. Somebody has come up to me and looked at my nearly completed painting, but then they look at one part of the canvas and they say, well, I don't know if I understand this white part here up in the corner. Why did you leave that white? I'm like, really? You mean the part that I didn't paint yet? Okay, all right, well, I don't like it either. That's why I'm going to paint it. That's why I'm going to finish it. So there is that aspect of our house, of all of our homestead projects. This was very much a blank canvas type of house and property, if you want to compare it to art, when we bought it. And it's taken a lot of work to continue, or we're not even finished with most things. And so in a lot of ways, we get a lot of comments that sort of are like that person who saw my painting, like, oh, I don't really like that blank spot. Don't really like what you're doing with that fence. You should do this. I hate that phrase. You should do. Well, you should do it. Gosh, if you feel so strongly about it, go do it yourself. I have many, many projects, and I see the vision of it. Granted, many people can, have developed a sense of being able to see a half-finished project through to completion. They can see the finished product in their mind's eye. But it's no fun to show the vast majority of people these half-finished projects and to get all these comments that are basically just showing a lack of vision. Again, I'm not talking about everybody. Most of you that have commented on our videos, especially regularly, are very, very kind. So thank you. You guys have vision, but we don't like the other comments. Let's see, the next thing is we aren't sure, and this is a little bit of an announcement, but we're not sure that we even want to be on this property anymore. There are a lot of problems. This property is in no way our dream property. It doesn't have the rolling hills, number one, and number two, the huge amount of large trees that we want. It also doesn't have running water on the property. Those are three things that we knew for sure that we couldn't live without, and yet we moved here anyway because it felt right at the time. And it was right at the time, but it has come to the point where we are very seriously considering selling this property. So now the decision has to come. We have to make the decision of, do we finish the property in the house the way we want, or do we just make it kind of run of the mill, which is hard for me to do. I feel like my house and property is like an art piece, like a canvas. It's an art project, and to finish it in a way that is not my style hurts. It hurts my soul. But we're having to face the reality of that. If we want to move on to something bigger and better, then we might have to finish this in a way that doesn't exactly please us. But it'll still be good, but it'll be faster if we do it not quite the way that we see its potential to be. Okay, next thing, and I could make a whole nother video about that, and I probably will, about the possibility of moving and things like that, and things that we've considered. I'll be honest, a lot of our time has been spent researching other states, the people, the laws, that govern, homesteading type things, the artistic potentials for growth in certain areas. Yeah, a lot of different things, and I'll share those later. Along with that is we may have to sell all of our animals, or most of our animals, and in many ways it'll make us not even a homestead anymore. So those of you who have come to think of us as a homestead, well, our channel is Art and Homesteading, because we identify with both those things very much, and it's hard for us to anticipate the need to maybe sell our animals. I'm really sad about that. Maybe we can still bring our cows to wherever we go, and maybe we won't go very far. Maybe it'll just be down the street or something, but it'll be a much larger property, and it'll be more perfect for us. The next thing is, it's hard for us to fulfill this sense of obligation that we feel, and maybe this is just well, of course it's self-made. We don't have to. We're not literally obligated to give you a video every day, but that sense of obligation is hard on us mentally, and just takes energy and effort to not even finish a day and already having to be thinking about what to do the next day. And quite frankly, we would have made this video several weeks ago. We would have probably only taken a 1 week break had it not been for some comments that we took too much to heart, granted, but people who said, this is upsetting to me that you would, string us along like this and make us love your family and then leave us hanging. Well, in a way, we made our point. If you're going to these people are definitely going to be nixed from our comment thread. They won't be allowed to comment anymore because we don't appreciate that type of attitude. If you're going to get mad at us for not giving you something for free, then go somewhere else. Go get something for free from somebody who wants to give you something for free. And the rest of you, thank you for your patience, and thank you for being loving towards us and just being concerned with our welfare. And I'm sorry that we left you hanging that long. I'm sorry that if you felt strung along or betrayed, I apologize. We just needed to establish our independence from YouTube. There's another small aspect that we've noticed too, and we noticed it before, but after taking the break, we really have noticed that, especially among the homestead community, boy, every video, not every video, there's some channels that we feel are very unique, but we just noticed a slight trend that there is a little bit of an echo chamber effect, and everybody tries to be the authority, and everybody tries to show how they do a certain thing, and rightly so, because they see what people are watching and what makes the most money on YouTube, and of course they'll want to pursue that subject because people are watching that subject, and unfortunately that is what YouTube is about. People would not share things on YouTube if it wasn't for making a little bit of money. They couldn't make a little bit of money for their time. Okay, the final thing, I'll skip one of the other ones because I've already talked about it, but the final thing on my list is that all the time that I spend on YouTube prevents me from, every hour that I spend making $3 to $5 for YouTube is an hour that I cannot make hundreds of dollars per hour painting. And granted, I don't paint 24 hours a day, so I'm not making thousands of dollars a day or anything like that, but at least not on average. Some days are better than others. It depends on what sells. But I love my job. I absolutely love it. I am an artist through and through, and I'm not an authority on the subject of homesteading, but I dare say that I am an authority on art. I've been doing it my whole life, and I know how to do it, and do it well. And it was only when we started to consider YouTube as a passive source of income for the slow months. You know, it's up and down. Art is, selling art can be very seasonal, and so we looked at YouTube as something to fill those gaps. But it got to the point where YouTube was that one thing that we did every day. It took up all of our mental energy. I wasn't able to do projects, and I wasn't able to paint very much. Granted, I do have this other channel, and I'm going to be focusing more of my time on that, and also selling lessons, group and private lessons, both online and in person. And I'd rather do that as a more long-term, sustainable source of passive income, and just keep the homesteading stuff to ourselves. That's our private life, in a way. But I was missing out. We got very, very, very poor this past year, and it wasn't until we filed our tax return that I realized how terrible of a decision it was for us to focus this much on YouTube. We made so little money on YouTube for so much time. I can't even tell you. And that was all time that I could have been spending on my art career, which is where I needed to be putting that time, and I didn't. And so I'm very grateful that I've refocused my efforts. For the past 3 weeks, I've been doing 3 things. I pulled my work. Oh, it's a very hard decision, but I pulled my work out of a gallery in Scottsdale, Arizona, a big, art mecca, if you will. And I had a really good working relationship with them, really honest, good, hardworking people. So I had a hard time leaving, but I just felt that it was time for me to move on. For whatever reason, it just felt right to go to another gallery. And in the process of looking for a gallery, actually in Santa Fe, I found one in Scottsdale and Santa Fe. They have actually 3 locations, and I'm now in. Oops. Okay, don't know what you missed. It stopped for a second. So I'm very grateful that I have now 2 new galleries, one in Santa Fe, one in Scottsdale, and with the possibility of in the future also being represented in their Laguna Beach, California gallery. Very excited about this. I feel like I've turned a new leaf in my career, a good one, a new chapter, and so a lot of my time has been spent finding these galleries, developing a relationship with them, and finally making the decision to go with them, which was the greatest decision. I just feel so good about it. And then buying frames, ordering frames, getting all my paintings framed, finishing up some that were in the process, packaging them, which takes forever, and shipping them down to Scottsdale. And now I'm going to spend the next week packaging and shipping paintings to Santa Fe, New Mexico, for this other gallery. So you'll probably not hear from me for a week as I get this done, unless I just happen to feel the need to visit with you sooner. And and then as I mentioned before, we have done a lot of property searching. So anyway, that was very long, and appreciate you watching to the end, all of you who have. And I'm not going to show you the family right now just because I wanted to it's already too long, and I want to get this uploaded so that those of you who care won't be worried about us anymore. And again, we're doing great. We're doing really, really, really great. We love our lives. Thanks for joining us. I look forward to your positive, uplifting comments, and we appreciate you guys as long-distance friends. All right, we will see you next time. Bye-bye.